Chapter 41, Climbing to the Top. You are listening at novelfull.audio. On the altar, Su Ba let out a grunt, and then withdrew with a pale face. This movement immediately caught everyone's attention. Look, Su Ba has come out. A little more than 4 sticks of incense, look at his ranking. It should be around 30, that while everyone was talking, they looked up at the rankings on the stone wall not far away. Almost everyone's eyes were swept back and forth between the 20th and the 40th. There was a sudden fluctuation in the number 1 position of the ranking stone. Afterwards, the name that originally belonged to Wang Hui disappeared, and a new name was created, Su Ba. Hey, where did Su Ba's ranking go? Why is there no movement between 20 and 40? For sticks of incense have a lot of time, so it should be here. Everyone was puzzled this time. I don't know who glanced up and stared. I couldn't believe my eyes. I rub, look at it. The first place. First place. What's so good about the first place? Isn't it the first master king of the outer government? Grass, that everyone looked at it subconsciously, and before the words were finished, their bodies were shocked. Like a thunderbolt from the blue. My God! That scalp burst. Everyone's scalp is numb. One by one, their eyes widened, staring at the name at the top of the ranking stone in disbelief. Su Ba, first place. How is this possible? How can Su Ba's ranking be so high? He only insisted on 4 incense sticks for more time. Even if it was 5 incense sticks, he would not have achieved such an outrageous result. Wang Hui insisted on at least 6 incense sticks. Could it be that the ranking stone is wrong? No way, this was arranged by an acquired master who is proficient in formation techniques in Yunmeng Wufu, and there has been no mistake over the years. This is not necessarily. Someone said suspiciously, no way, this result is unbelievable. Shut up for me. This time. Xia Hang scolded coldly. He recovered from the blindness, glanced at the people who did not believe, and said indifferently. The ranking stone has always been accurate. Su Ba has such amazing results, it can only mean that his speed in killing enemies in the phantom killing formation is much faster than any of you, killing enemies much faster than any of us. Those new disciples had no concept, but the old disciples took a deep breath. In this phantom killing array, the enemies are one after another, and one group is stronger than one group. Especially in the midterm, the enemy is overwhelming, and it is difficult for people to breathe. Don't talk about killing the enemy, I can't wait to stop and take a good rest. Therefore, under normal circumstances, everyone kills the enemy at the same speed, so it can be judged according to the time, and the error will not be very large, but this Su Ba is too cruel. Killing the enemy like this will undoubtedly consume a huge amount of physical strength and real energy. Under such circumstances, you can still hold more than 4 sticks of incense, too strong. Could it be that Su Ba has strength comparable to the mid-5 star? Because Wang Hui is such a strength, Su Ba can replace Wang Hui to win the top ranking stone, which is enough to prove this. OMG. Samsung Peak is comparable to 5-star midterm. Did they meet a pervert? This time. Everyone noticed that a figure was approaching in front of them, but it was Su Ba who came to them slowly, but ignored them directly. Seeing Su Ba carrying his hands on his back, looking at the gloomy Wang Hui in the crowd, he stretched out his hand and stroked his neck lightly, and said lightly. Wang Hui, have you washed your neck? Chapter 42 Unscrupulous. You are listening at novelfull.audio. There was a commotion all around, then it quickly quieted down. Everyone turned their attention to Wang Hui. Wang Hui's face was gloomy and terrifying, and he looked at Su Ba quietly. Suddenly, he smiled, a little unscrupulous. Ha. Su Ba, I didn't expect it. Your talent has reached such an incredible level. However, do you really think you can't win? A trace of contempt flashed on Wang Hui's handsome face. This ranking is just my ranking last month, not to mention whether I did my best last time, just this month has passed, it is very different, that the voice didn't fall. A powerful aura erupted from Wang Hui's body, layer upon layer like an ocean tide, sweeping across all directions in an instant. Xia Hang's expression froze, and he let out a low voice. Wang Hui, you have broken through the 5-star realm, 0.5 stars. When everyone saw it, there was a lot of shocking discussion. Senior brother Wang Hui was only promoted to 4 stars a few months ago, and now he is 5 stars, so amazing. 5 stars, you can enter the inner palace. This time, senior brother Wang Hui has stabilized. His current strength is beyond the level of a 5-star late-stage warrior. Hey, this time Su Ba is a little off. After 5 stars, the gap between each small realm is comparable to the previous big realm, that the crowd separated, leaving a large space for Su Ba and Wang Hui, because, everyone knows, next, there will be a major show to be staged. One by one, the emotions were so high that even the assessment of the ranking stone was temporarily forgotten. However, some people who had hoped for Su Ba in the first place are also not optimistic about this battle. At this time, the smile on the corner of Wang Hui's mouth became more and more prosperous, and his momentum was still rising, causing some weak disciples around him to keep retreating. Xia Hang's expression was solemn. Wang Hui was afraid that he had broken through 5 stars for a while, but this time, the chances of Su Ba's victory were more than 1 grade lower. Even if it is him, with the strength of the late 5-star, against Wang Hui, he would not dare to say that he will win. Su Ba. Wang Hui smiled proudly and said, look, you use a stick. I advise you to pull out the stick quickly, otherwise, I'm afraid you won't even have a chance to pull the stick later. Yes, do you want me to let you do 3 tricks? Ah ha ha ha. Between the words, Wang Hui's arrogant and complacent gesture is beyond words. Everyone looked at Su Ba with pity. What a pity. If Wang Hui's realm does not break through, this Su Ba may really be able to create a miracle in the history of Yunmeng Wufu. In the first month of admission, as a freshman, he defeated the 4-star peak Wang Hui by leaps and bounds, and became the first miracle in the outer palace. Just when everyone was not optimistic about Su Ba's expression was still calm. He looked at Wang Hui, who was overwhelmed with pride on the opposite side, with a stern curve on the corner of his mouth. Let me do 3 tricks. Oh, I'm afraid you can't even take one of my sticks. The next moment, Su Ba pulled out the golden cudgel and smashed it at Wang Hui. Su Ba's stick seems slow and has a clear trajectory, but in a blink of an eye, it came to the top of Wang Hui's head. Wang Hui's face changed slightly, and he was about to raise his sword. This time, a heavy and simple atmosphere rose from Su Ba's body. Everyone just felt as if there was a vast wasteland in front of them. Between heaven and earth, in the center of the wasteland, 100 zhang-long iron pillar came into view. I feel like my own person has suddenly become smaller. Wipe. Xia Hang next to him almost sat on the ground in shock. The whole person shook violently. His eyes were fixed on Su Ba's direction, and he couldn't help shouting out in shock. Artistic conception. This Su Ba actually understood the artistic conception of martial arts. Chapter 43, The Great Wilderness, The Crazy Xia Hang. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Scalp tingling. Xia Hang's scalp felt numb all of a sudden. Martial arts artistic conception is something that a genius with extraordinary comprehension can comprehend after cultivating a certain martial skill. Generally speaking, only those who have reached the 7-star Grandmaster realm can get a glimpse of martial arts and reach the realm of martial arts for the first time. At the beginning, the proud daughter of Yunmeng Wufu, Qin Zhuoyue understood the meaning of martial arts when she first entered the 5-star realm, and directly caused a sensation in the entire Wufu. And how much cultivation did this Su Ba have? Samsung Pinnacle. Oh, your sister. Samsung Peak Cultivation Base has mastered the most difficult stick technique among the high-grade human-level martial arts in 1 month, the Great Wilderness Demon Cudgel, and has also comprehended the Great Wilderness Stick. This can no longer be described as a genius. It's just a monster. In front of Su Ba, Qin Zhuoyue, such a arrogant girl, was eclipsed. Xia Hang had a faint hunch. If the news of Su Ba's 3-star peak comprehend the martial intent spreads to the inner palace, it is estimated that the elders of the inner palace will be bombed. Back then, in order to grab a Qin Jiuyue, the Yunmeng inner palace was almost torn down. This time, there is a monster whose talent and understanding are better than Qin Jiuyue. I am afraid that half of the Great Dragon Mountain will be destroyed. And with Xia Hang's stunned voice, the new disciples around them looked at a loss. They only felt that Su Ba's stick made them feel the incomparably powerful power, making them breathless. But those old disciples opened their mouths one by one and looked horrified. Wui! This Su Ba actually realized the martial intent. Sky! They are not dreaming. In a corner not far from the valley, in the shadow of the dense forest, the peerless Qin Jiuyue has regained a quiet temperament. Looking at this scene, the corner of his mouth suddenly smiled, and the beauty of blooming in an instant was even compared to the beauty of the surrounding flowers, she muttered to herself. This villain is not bad, isn't it, Xuanhuan? Xuanhuan, the snow-white puppy in his arms, wagging his little tail, barked excitedly, and responded to Qin Jiuyue's words. Qin Jiuyue smiled and stroked Xuanhuan's puppy's head, without looking at it again, floated away. As a result, she already knew, over the altar. Ah, this is impossible, I won't lose. That when Wang Hui felt the heavy and simple atmosphere, his body was shaken, and his eyes showed an extremely incredible color. Seeing that, a giant stick that reaches the sky is getting bigger and bigger in front of him. Wang Hui's eyes were red, he roared unwillingly, and raised his sword to resist. Luyue, 18 slashes, swish 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 swish. In an instant, Wang Hui swayed a large piece of sword light, the sword light overflowed, and the murderous intent surged toward the giant stick that was transformed above his head. This is the ultimate move in the human-level high-grade martial arts Luyue Shang, the ultimate move of the cultivation and the strength of Wang Hui's 5-star initial stage. The power has skyrocketed directly, comparable to the power of human-level superb martial arts. But to no avail. The giant stick of the sky was pressed down, and all the sword lights were instantly shattered. Boom! The aftermath of the great wilderness cudgel hit Wang Hui directly from top to bottom. Wang Hui vomited blood, his knees went weak, and he suddenly knelt on the ground. The knee and the ground collided heavily, directly smashing 2 shallow potholes. The cobweb-like cracks were centered on Wang Hui's knee, and they spread densely to the outside for a long distance. Su Ba slowly retracted the golden cudgel behind his back, carried his hands on his back, looked down at Wang Hui, whose face was gray and defeated, and said lightly. I said long ago that you can't even catch me with a stick. Chapter 44 created a miracle. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Outside, it was quiet. After a few breaths, it suddenly boiled. Suba wins. He works miracles. With the strength of Samsung's peak, he defeated Wang Hui in the early 5-star stage. 1 month after entering the martial arts mansion, he suddenly changed from a freshman to the #1 master of the foreign mansion. The speed of this promotion is astonishing. Everyone's eyes were now focused on Su Ba alone, and everyone's eyes were shining with awe, admiration, and admiration. Yunmeng Wufu has always respected the strong. Su Ba's talent and strength are enough to make everyone feel awe and admiration. Some beautiful female disciples looked at Su Ba with their eyes. It was a direct brilliance. Although Su Ba is not handsome, but his facial features are firm and stern, and there is a vague domineering in his eyebrows that he is the only one who ignores me. In addition, there is a calm-like cast, immobile like a mountain in the body. It is really full of the beauty of a man's hardness. This kind of strong man is also the type that girls love. Not to mention, Su Ba's enchanting talent is blessed. At this time, in a small mansion more than 10 kilometers away from Yunmeng Wufu, this is the mansion belonging to the royal family. In a room, a young man with a bandage on his head and a bandage on his chest was half lying on the bed, accompanied by a coquettish-looking woman. Wang Quan, I heard that today is the decisive battle between your cousin Wang Hui and Su Ba, right? That the fox beautiful woman brushed the blue silk beside her ear, and her beautiful eyes flashed with a strange brilliance. "Heh, Luan, don't mention the word decisive battle. The decisive battle is used to describe two people whose strengths are not much different. When used on my cousin and Suba, it is an insult. Suba is an ass. My cousin told me before that he has already surpassed the 5-star rating, and to abuse that Suba is the same as playing." When Xuanhuan mentioned Suba, his fair face turned a little green, that was angry. Damn it. Because of this Suba, he had to rest at home for more than a month and missed the enrollment of Yunmeng Wufu. Yunmeng Wufu's rules are unbreakable. When he recovers in a few days, he can only go to other Wufu. Either he will restudy at the academy for another year and take the Yunmeng Wufu exam next year. Groove. Wasting a year in vain, Xuanhuan wanted to cut Suba into 8 pieces when he remembered it. "Ha ha ha, Luan, look at it, my cousin said that he will avenge me, to shatter the heart of Suba's martial arts, and he will never recover and become a cripple. It won't be long before news of my cousin's victory will come." When Xuanhuan thought of this, a cheerful smile appeared on his face, and his mood improved a lot. Jiang Luan nodded, her eyes showing a hint of anticipation. The more outstanding Suba is, the more proof that her vision is not good. This makes her, who claims to be able to play countless men in her palms, how can she bear it? Moreover, she also knew that it was impossible for Suba to like her, so if she could destroy Suba, it would be a relief for her. Bang bang bang. At this time, someone knocked on the door. "Huh, Luan, go open the door, the news is here." Xuanhuan was overjoyed and said quickly. Jiang Luan stepped forward and opened the door, and a man wearing a white waist badge from the outer palace of Yunmeng Wufu walked in. This was a friend Xuanhuan met in the outer palace of Yunmeng through Wang Hui. "Ha ha, brother Lu, how is it, did my cousin slaughter the quartet, stomping on that Suba calf under his feet and rubbing it to generate electricity?" That when Xuanhuan saw the person coming, he immediately laughed and asked impatiently. Chapter 45, Inventory the Harvest, a lot of strengthening points. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Stepping on Suba on the ground will generate electricity by friction. Hearing this, the young man known as Brother Lu had a strange expression on his face. "What's the matter, Brother Lu?" Xuanhuan was stunned for a while. Seeing that something was wrong on the young man's face, he said with some doubts, "Brother Lu, you are not sick, right? Your face seems to be very ill. Sick your sister. You are so sick." Brother Lu glared at Xuanhuan fiercely, and said angrily. "Okay, Wang Hui, let me tell you, don't mess with Suba in the future, he can't help you." After speaking, the young man will leave. "Hey, wait a minute, Brother Lu, what are you talking about, why can't I understand it?" Xuanhuan hurriedly straightened up from the bed, trying to get out of bed to stop Brother Lu. However, Brother Lu turned around and left a sentence lightly. Today, Suba challenged Wang Hui. Wang Hui was smashed to the ground by Suba's stick. Now Suba is the #1 expert in Yunmeng Waifu. Do you understand? This retard. Shaking his head, Brother Lu strode out of the room without looking back. The room was quiet. Jiang Luan was dumbfounded, motionless, as if she had turned into a wooden sculpture. As for Xuanhuan, his mouth widened in shock, his eyes widened, and what Brother Lu had just said kept replaying in his mind. Wang Hui was hit by Suba's stick and couldn't get down on his knees. Wang Hui was hit by Suba's stick and couldn't get on his knees. Wang Hui was hit by Suba's stick and couldn't get on his knees. "Ah, that's not true." With a puff, there seemed to be the sound of something rolling off the bed, accompanied by a scream. At this time, in Yunmeng Wufu, the outer government, in an ordinary log cabin belonging to the disciples of the outer government. Suba quietly sat cross-legged on the ground. After finishing the fight, he had no interest in staying at the altar to watch other people's assessment, so he came back early. At this moment, in front of him, there are 10 exquisite small white porcelain vases. After he got the #1 ranking stone, he took out all the top 10 rewards at one time. For the first time, the ranking stone of the foreign government has reached the top 10, and each ranking has a reward to claim. Suba has seen it, and the rewards are all Yuan Ju Yuan Dan, which is helpful for the martial artist's cultivation. However, the quality has improved sequentially from the 3rd grade to the 5th grade. There are 4 bottles of rank 3 Xuanhuan Dan, 3 bottles of rank 4 Xuanhuan Dan, and 3 bottles of rank 5 Xuanhuan Dan. Each bottle contains 10 medicinal pills. I am afraid that recycling will have tens of thousands of strengthening points. Not bad. This reward is quite generous. Suba nodded slightly, a little satisfied. Oh, right. Suddenly, Suba seemed to remember something, and with a flash of white light, 2 storage rings appeared in his hand. This is what I brought over after killing 2 gangsters, one fat and one thin, in the alien beast mountains. Suba's consciousness immersed in it, and his eyes lit up slightly. Inside the 2 storage rings, a lot of belongings are placed. The low-grade true essence stones seemed to add up to more than 200 pieces, and there were a total of more than a dozen bottles of 1st to 6th grade medicinal pills, and some human-level treasures, and long swords had 2 martial arts. Martial skill. Suba took it out and took a look. Iron Sand Palm was middle-ranked, and Cold Wind Sword was middle-ranked. They didn't look very good. Suba was not interested in learning middle-rank martial arts, so he just recycled them. After taking stock of these 2 storage rings, the harvest actually surpassed all the rewards that Suba received when he was ranked 1st in the Outer Palace. I understand now why some people like killing people and stealing treasures so much. Suba's stern face showed a hint of sigh. This method is really the best way to get rich. However, the thought in my mind disappeared in a flash. Suba quickly regained his composure. There is no reason for him. He, Suba, is not a good person even though he asks himself. However, only kill those who deserve to be killed. After thinking about it, Suba finally kept some medicinal pills in case he was injured and could recover quickly, and the rest were all recovered. This time, there should be a lot of strengthening points. Suba opened the attribute panel. Chapter 46 4-star peak, 20,000 catties of great power. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Host, Suba, Cultivation Realm, Samsung Peak, Plus, Cultivation Method, Zheoyang Divine Art, 4/720, Plus, Weapon, Rui Gold Hoop Bar, Martial Skill, The Great Wilderness Demon Cudgel, Enhancement Point, 30,620 points, Lottery Draw, 100 points of reinforcement. You can have a lottery draw. Storage space, 1 cubic meter. Plus. Break the 30,000 enhancement points. Suba's heart was slightly agitated, but after calming down, he tapped the plus sign at the back of the cultivation realm several times. Drip. The cultivation base is upgraded to the early stage of the 4-star warrior, and the strengthening point is minus 3,500. Drip. The cultivation base is upgraded to the middle stage of the 4-star warrior, and the strengthening point is minus 4,000. Drip. The cultivation base is raised to the peak of the 4-star martial artist, and the strengthening point is minus 5,000. A powerful warm current continuously flowed through Suba's body, 4 realms in a row, jumping from the peak of 3 stars to the peak of 4 stars. The speed of this upgrade is really indescribable. Suba looked at the reinforcement points, and there were still 13,620 points. Squinting his eyes, Suba clicked on the plus sign at the back of 9 Yang Divine Art. Drip. Successfully opened the 5th acupoint, strengthening point minus 5,000. Immediately. The familiar feeling is back. Through his inner vision, Suba clearly sees the back of his head, and there are already 4 acupuncture points shining brightly, from top to bottom, Baihui Point, Houting Point, Fengfu Point, Yamen Point. Every time each acupoint flickers, there is an inexplicable heat flow gushing out from the acupoint, making people feel comfortable. This time, the Huanbone Cave, on the side of Fengfu Cave suddenly lit up like a light in a dark room. Boom! Immediately afterwards, a turbulent heat flow rushed out from the Huanbone Cave, reaching the limbs and bones. The bones all over the body crackled, and the fists were pinched. 20,000 genes of power. Directly soaring 5,000 catties of strength. Cool. Suba let out a sigh of relief, and the breath he spit in the air vaguely turned into a white cyclone, which quickly disappeared. 10,000 catties is the power of 1 elephant, and now his arms have reached the power of 2 elephants. The physical strength has increased significantly, and I am afraid that it is a genius martial artist of the 5-star peak, but that's all it is. There are more than 8,000 strengthening points left, so let's draw a lottery. Su Ba suppressed his mood and regained his calm. Although the item explosion rate is greatly reduced in the lottery, it is relatively uneconomical to use enhancement points. However, the attributes points such as comprehension, strength, physique, and soul power that are drawn are still beneficial to warriors, especially savvy. Strength, physique, and soul power may be improved through exercises and martial arts, but comprehension is innate, unless there is some kind of heaven-defying pill, or reincarnation and other heaven-defying means. Otherwise, comprehension will not change much. It, to a large extent, represents the genius of a martial artist. Comprehension of martial arts, breakthrough of realm bottlenecks, etc., all you need is comprehension. Comprehension is not enough, everything is in vain. It is also because of having enough understanding that Su Ba was able to cultivate the great wilderness demon slayer to his culmination within a month, and he had an amazing understanding of the great wilderness's artistic conception. There is always no harm in having more comprehension. After all, I have to learn more powerful martial arts later on. Su Ba thought about it, and without hesitation, he started the 80 consecutive draws. Chapter 47 Xia Hang's Visit, the Inner Palace Invites. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Drip. Enhancement point -8,000, the lottery draw starts 80 consecutive draws. Congratulations, host, you didn't draw anything. Congratulations to the host, comprehension plus 30 points. Congratulations to the host, strength plus 22 points. Congratulations, host, you didn't draw anything. Congratulations to the host, comprehension plus 26 points. Soul power plus 23 points. Perception plus 28 points. Perception plus 21 points. Strength plus 25 points. You didn't draw anything. Soul power plus 30 points. Su Ba closed his eyes and felt the constant sound of the system prompts in his mind. At the same time, with the increase in understanding, soul power, physique, and strength, an indescribable feeling filled his body. The strength of the body is strengthened, the strength is strengthened, the head becomes ethereal, the perception becomes clear. Didi. Congrats to the host, you have drawn the talent, mastery of Dan Dao. Until the last moment, a distinctive sound appeared in Su Ba's mind. What the hell? Su Ba suddenly opened his eyes. Suddenly, a cool feeling poured into my mind out of thin air, and after a few breaths, it disappeared without a trace. Dan Dao proficient. Su Ba raised his eyebrows, feeling that he didn't have any more knowledge about medicine pills in his mind. With a move in my heart, open the properties panel. Host, Su Ba, cultivation realm, 4-star peak, plus, dot, cultivation method, Zhuyang divine art, 5 out of 720, plus, dot, weapon, Rui gold hoop bar, martial skill, the great wilderness demon cudgel, talent, mastery of pill Dao. Increase the rate of pill success by 50%, the number of pills by 50%, and the quality of pills by 50%, dot. Enhancement point, 620 points, lottery draw, 100 points of reinforcement, you can have a lottery draw. Storage space, 1 cubic meter, plus, Su Ba found a slight difference. On the panel, there was an extra column, talent. After looking at it carefully, he understood what the use of this alchemy mastery was. It turned out that it was indeed related to alchemy. Su Ba shook his head, slightly disappointed. If there is one who is proficient in martial arts, etc., there may be even greater surprises. Fortunately, Su Ba had a good mentality and quickly adjusted his state. After 80 consecutive draws, his physical fitness has risen a bit, and his strength has also increased to 24,000 pounds, 2 elephants and 4 horses. And because of the improvement of comprehension, I have a deeper understanding of the great wilderness demon cudgel, from the entry of artistic conception to the achievement of artistic conception. Every step of the artistic conception, the power of this martial skill doubles, and Su Ba's hardcore strength rises again. As for soul power, Su Ba only knows that his perception seems to be a lot clearer for the time being, and the other benefits are not very clear. Now my strength is no longer challenging in the outer palace, and the rigid standard for entering the Yunmeng inner palace is to reach the 5-star realm of warriors. Su Ba patted his head. He knew earlier that he would first use the strengthening points to upgrade his cultivation and go directly to the 5-star realm, so that he could enter the inner palace. Mistakes. Bang bang. Just when Su Ba felt a little pity, someone knocked on the door. Su Ba walked over and opened it. There was a tall, indifferent middle-aged man standing at the door. Who else would it be if it were not Deacon Xia Hang? What's the matter, Deacon Xia Hang, is something wrong? Su Ba asked suspiciously. Su Ba, are you willing to enter the inner palace? When Xia Hang saw Su Ba, the indifferent expression on his face instantly faded, revealing a warm smile, even a little flattering, and asked with a smile. Chapter 48. I want to concoct alchemy. Xia Hang is stunned. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Enter the inner palace. Su Ba was slightly startled. Isn't it possible to enter the Yunmeng inner palace after the cultivation base is 5-star? Seemingly seeing the doubts on Su Ba's face, Xia Hang said with a smile. Su Ba, your talent is amazing, your combat power is outstanding, and you have grasped the artistic conception of martial arts at the peak of Samsung. There is no pressure at all to stay in the outer palace, and it is a waste of time. I have already reported your information to the palace master. After hearing this, the palace master was greatly shocked. He specially approved you to enter the Yunmeng inner palace, and also recommended a Yunmeng Wufu Kundo Great Ning Shao elder as your master. Although this elder Shao has a bad temper, his Scorpion King and Tiger Stick tops the entire Yunmeng Wufu, which will definitely be of great help to you. Xia Hang felt that the palace master's decision was very wise. At the beginning, Qin Zhuoyue was a swordsman, so this elder Shao didn't have much intention to grab it. However, now I have encountered Su Ba, who is also a stick wielder and whose talent surpasses Qin Zhuoyue's. If someone else dares to rob him for an apprentice, the elder Zhao's temper will burst, and even the palace lord can't hold back. Longshan has collapsed. This is probably what the palace master is worried about, so he can gain wisdom and directly designate candidates to avoid some trouble. Oh, then thank you Deacon Xia Hang. Hearing that he could now enter the inner palace directly, Su Ba also showed a look of joy. Entering the inner palace means stronger opponents and greater challenges. As for the matter of apprenticeship, Su Ba didn't care. If you have a system, whether you are a teacher or not, the impact should not be very big. The most important thing is that you can earn enough reinforcement points. Earn power points. Su Ba suddenly had a flash of inspiration, thinking of the alchemy proficient talent he had just drawn, and asked abruptly. By the way, Deacon Xia Hang, let me ask, does the profession of alchemist make money? Earn, of course I did. Pills are high-frequency consumables, and they are the most profitable of all sub-professionals. Generally speaking, alchemists have a rich family background. Xia Hang replied subconsciously, but immediately became puzzled. Why are you asking this? How rich is it? A strange light appeared in Su Ba's eyes, but he did not answer Xia Hang's question, but asked again. Xia Hang thought for a while and said, it's like Elder Hu, the alchemy master of our Yunmeng martial house. Although his cultivation is not high, he has 8 stars, but in terms of family background, it is estimated that all the elders of the Hotian realm in Yunmeng Wufu combined are not as many as him. Okay, I've decided. Su Ba's eyes lit up, and he immediately said, Deacon Xia Hang, please introduce this elder Hu for me. I want to learn alchemy from him. Oh, well, what? Just as Xia Hang nodded, he suddenly realized something. He stared at Su Ba with wide eyes, and said in a daze, Su Ba, what are you talking about? You want to learn alchemy? Right, Su Ba said with a light smile, I'm still very interested in alchemy, and I asked myself, I should be very talented in alchemy, so I want to learn. Xia Hang. Alchemy talent is good. I wipe. No matter how good your talent is, do you have your talent in martial arts? Samsung Peak comprehends what the artistic conception of martial arts represents, do you know that, kid? Moreover, looking at your cultivation talent, within a month, you have risen directly from the mid-1 star to the peak of the 3-star, scary to know. Xia Hang thought about it and glanced at Su Ba speechlessly, but, look at this. Boom! Like a thunderbolt from the blue. Xia Hang's eyes widened, and he stared at Su Ba in disbelief. After a few breaths, he lost his voice. My mother-in-law. Su Ba, how did you reach the peak of 4 stars? Chapter 49 Epiphany, you can't find it. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Confused, burst. Xia Hang's scalp exploded. I just felt a chill coming out of my fart eyes. Su Ba, you are a human or a ghost? Xia Hang opened his eyes wide and stammered at Su Ba Dao, so scary. This cultivation base increases the speed, and the skyrocketing arrow is not so fast. Not long ago, there was only a peak of 3-star cultivation, but in a blink of an eye, after a few hours, why did it become a peak of 4 stars? Xia Hang's brain felt bad. This is also what I have seen with my own eyes. If someone told him that someone had soared from the peak of 3 stars to the peak of 4 stars in a few hours, Xia Hang's big mouth could not kill him. Seeing Xia Hang's hellish expression, Su Ba wondered if he had gone too far in leveling up too quickly, rubbed his nose, and explained nonsense. Deacon Xia Hang, I don't know what's going on. After I came back, during the cultivation process, I suddenly felt that the surroundings were quiet, and I could only hear my heartbeat. Hearing this, Xia Hang's complexion suddenly changed as he looked at Su Ba and took a deep breath. Su Ba, could it be possible that you have entered a state of apocalyptic, that is impossible for a warrior to meet? An epiphany? Su Ba was puzzled. Yes, it is epiphany. Xia Hang felt that he seemed to have found the reason why Su Ba upgraded so quickly, and exclaimed with envy. It is said that 6,000 years ago, there was a powerful man named Sakyamuni who sat quietly under the Bodhi tree for 7 days and 7 nights, and finally became enlightened. This is recorded in the classics. I don't know if it is true or not, but in reality, there is indeed such a special state. Although it is not as terrifying as a great power like Shakyamuni, the speed of cultivation is greatly accelerated, and it is not uncommon for people to break through the realm in an instant. However, like Su Ba, it is extremely rare for you to break several realms in a row. I am afraid that in the thousands of years of Shentian continent, there are no more than 1 hand. Xia Hang looked at Su Ba like a monster, and there were only 2 words left in his mind, enchanting. Oh, I got it. Su Ba calmly nodded his head, a little funny in his heart. Deacon Xia Hang actually made up for his nonsense words. It seems that in the future, he should also pay attention to the upgrade, otherwise, if you are not careful, you will easily scare people to death. Okay, Deacon Xia Hang, not much else to say, take me to see the alchemy elder who. Su Ba deliberately diverted his attention and said immediately. Su Ba, are you sure you want to worship Elder Hu as your teacher? Yes. But. Xia Hang hesitated. The palace lord recommended you to go to Elder Shao. It is estimated that your information will also be in the hands of Elder Shao. If you worship Elder Hu as your teacher, I am afraid that Elder Hu will be in danger. Thinking of Elder Zhao's explosive temper, Xia Hang shuddered subconsciously. Why, could it be that Elder Shao still killed Elder Hu? Su Ba frowned and said somewhat displeasedly, I'll be a teacher myself and take care of what others do. I've made up my mind. Deacon Xia Hang, lead the way. An undeniable arrogance radiated from Su Ba's body. Xia Hang was shocked. For some reason, when Su Ba became serious, he actually felt a little scared. Okay, I see, Su Ba, come with me. This kid is kind of scary. Taking a deep look at Su Ba, Xia Hang breathed a sigh of relief, suppressed the strange feeling in his heart, and went out to lead Su Ba. Chapter 50 The list of outstanding people in the palace, the elite list of the 3 kingdoms. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Xia Hang pointed the way, and Su Ba walked ahead, looking at Su Ba's sturdy back. Xia Hang both admired and regretted this. This Su Ba has a terrifying talent, and at the peak of Samsung, he has realized the martial arts artistic conception that others may not be able to comprehend in the 7-star master realm. Now the strength of the 4-star peak, I am afraid that I can't stop it with a stick. However, I don't know what Su Ba was thinking. The palace lord introduced him to Elder Xiao Ba, the strongest cudgel master in Yunmeng Wufu. Many inner palace disciples and even core disciples wanted to apprentice but couldn't, but he refused. Even if you refuse, you have to choose an alchemy elder as your master. Could it be that true geniuses are not doing their jobs? Xia Hang was a little dumbfounded. Besides, although an alchemist has a distinguished status, not everyone can learn it. To put it mildly, although Su Ba's talent in martial arts is astounding, it is not certain whether he has talent in alchemy. When the time comes, if the alchemy is not perfected, and the martial arts have also fallen, it will be a great pity. Thinking like this, Xia Hang and Su Ba had already arrived in the middle of the main peak of Dalong Mountain, and after walking along the mountain road for a while, their eyes widened. Arrive. Xia Hang said. Su Ba stood still and looked up. I saw in the open area in front, there were large and small exquisite buildings. The single-family building with a small courtyard is much better than the dilapidated wooden house where the foreign government lives. Su Ba's eyes lit up, and sure enough, he came to the inner palace, and his conditions were much better. Suddenly, Su Ba's brows twitched, and a glimpse of a white stone steel standing in the distance. A huge piece of rice paper that was tightly stitched on the steel, seemed to have many names written on the rice paper. Deacon Xia Hang, what is that? Su Ba pointed at the 10-meter-high white stone tablet and asked in confusion. Xia Hang took a look and smiled. This is the list of outstanding people in the inner palace. It was formulated by the palace master and a few elders based on the elite list of the 3 kingdoms. There are a total of 36 people on the stone tablet, representing the 36 most outstanding disciples in the inner palace. Oh. Hearing this, Su Ba's eyes flickered, and he stared at a distance. On the stone tablet, the first name was Xuanhuan. It seemed that he could see where Su Ba was looking. Xia Hang explained. Now the number 1 in Yunmeng's inner palace is this Xuanhuan, whose talent is outstanding, and his cultivation has reached the peak of 6 stars. At any time, he can attack the 7-star Grandmaster realm to escape from the inner palace and become a core disciple. With a single-handed gust of wind, he is unmatched in the inner palace. Speaking of this Xuanhuan, Deacon Xia Hang's tone could not help but bring a little awe, which shows his power. As the first person in the inner palace, Xuanhuan should have understood the artistic conception of martial arts. Su Ba said. Yes. Xia Hang nodded, and added, Xuanhuan's 5-star late-stage comprehension of the wind blade intent is quite astonishing, but you can't compare to Su Ba. Xia Hang calmly flattered Su Ba. Oh, right. What Su Ba thought, what is the 3 kingdoms elite list you mentioned earlier? The 3 kingdoms elite list is the eastern region of the continent. Counting the 3 countries including my Funwu kingdom, it is a list formulated for talented warriors under the age of 25 and above the 7-star master level. In other words, in the top martial arts of the 3 kingdoms, only the core disciples are eligible to rank. On the 3 kingdoms elite list, only 18 geniuses are included. These 18 people can be said to be the most powerful beings among the young generation of the 3 kingdoms in the entire eastern district.